kindred longevity lifestyle designers. This is martin-kilgour here with Secrets of LongevityInHumans.com. Sexuality is one of those aspects of youth that many people assume or believe or even experience if they're already advanced in their years. They believe that it is meant or generally does diminish with age. Now there's probably a variety of reasons as to why this does happen for a lot of people. And that has to do with the lifestyle, obviously. Belief system. If you believe something's going to happen for your entire life, it's going to be pretty sure that it's going to happen by the time you reach that point. And your values about the sexual experience as well plays an impact and a role on how the aspects of your body that generate those urges and those biological needs to become apparent. So if you're going through life doing sort of the typical thing that most people have grown up doing, there's a high likelihood that your men, for instance, are going to experience drastically reduced ability to maintain an erection or to even ejaculate at all. Women, it's very common to see very drastically lowered libido once they hit menopause. And a lot of people say, well, this is biologically meant to happen, we don't need to procreate, etc., etc. When you look at the healthiest people in the world, a person's health, almost in every single case, is tied in with their entire being and how everything that's going on in their life is in alignment with being healthy. And so one of those things is sexuality. And as soon as sexuality and the urge to have sex and make love and do everything that's fun in life begins to diminish, then the quality of life begins to diminish, and coincidentally also level of health, level of vitality, and eventually other things begin to diminish as well. So one of the huge bonuses of eating a very natural, plant-based, and superfood and super herb, bountiful diet that's also abundant in raw foods is you're going to have no blockages in your system that are going to inhibit the free-flowing of the energies necessary to cultivate a healthy level of desire. And you're also going to have the nutrients and essence in what you're taking in dietarily to be able to build the parts of your body that are required to generate a healthy desire. So one of the key components here is endocrine system, hormones. We all know, growing up, we make fun of kids or teenagers for having raging hormones, and their hormones are out of whack, and this is causing them to be very sexual, when in actual fact this is the human body in its prime. It's at its healthiest when it's in that state. So our perception, or at least some people's perception, it's not mine, it never has been, that this is a bad thing to have happen, or to be out of whack, when it's not really, leads to the acceptance of lowered libido later in life. So when those youthful hormones are maintained throughout life, which is seen in the longevity cultures around the world, these cultures don't really experience diminished sex lives up until their elder years. And we may think of that as funny, old people having sex, but it's part of the human experience, and it's definitely, most people will agree, it's a very fantastic part of the human experience, one that we don't want to miss out on. And anyone that's preaching or cultivating a suppressed sexuality definitely runs into problems in the long run, and we see that in a lot of scientific research going on today. Some of the studies on male monks from, well, this is not actually Asian monks, this is specifically Christian monks, in parts of Europe actually have higher incidence of prostate cancer from being celibate. So the whole idea of use it or lose it really comes into play here. And I'd be quite interested to see any, I'm not aware of any, but I'm sure there might be studies that might indicate similarities for in the female population, whether it's in nuns or some other way of studying that in the female population that has suppressed sexuality. Now, one thing we don't see in the longevity cultures and healthy people in general is sort of the other end of the spectrum, which is what I might call perverted sexuality or discordant sexual practices. So this is excessive promiscuity, violence in the sexual act, or inducing pain on others. I mean, the list could go on and on. But there are people that tend towards unhealthy sexual practices that you just don't see animals, one, animals doing in nature, and two, the longest lived cultures doing. So that leads me to guess that perhaps those who feel the urge to go down some of those routes or paths in life is that they do have underlying emotional issues that need to be sorted out. So the solution to that isn't to suppress sexuality and say don't have sex, but it's to do the necessary work on yourself that can lead to a healthy and loving sexual relationship with your significant other in whatever form that takes. Superfoods and super herbs, which are generally aphrodisiacs if they're specifically adaptogenic herbs, boost, tonify, and supply, like I said before, the building blocks to a healthy sex drive. The example I gave earlier of young people having high sex drives, well, that's not the only thing young people have going for them. As we all know, young people are young. They're vital. They have good health in general. They also are athletically have an advantage over the more aged population. So when we see the association between hormones or endocrine system, the level of vitality or nutrition and energy built up in the body in the form of Jing energy, and that along with athletic excellence and intense sexual passion, we know that all of these things need to be preserved in the body. We intuitively are aware of these, and people go there, but they have blocks in their mindsets, or at least some people do, in their pursuit of that. Ironically, those who promote a cooked food diet, I mean a large amount of their diet is cooked food. I'm not opposed to being strict about dietary measures by any means, but there are those people that heavily emphasize, almost dogmatically, that you have to cook everything or else you're not going to get any nutrition from it. And to me, when I see these people talking, it's pretty obvious where they're at because it shows in their bodies. These are, oddly enough, it seems to be in herbalism a lot that there's this dogmatic way of thinking, and you see these overweight, balding, all sorts of parts of their bodies are drooping people and health teachers who are saying one thing and not living it. So intuitively, we know that a young and healthy looking body that advances in years is going to be the best thing for our health. So when we see people doing this and getting these results, we're naturally averted. I at least hope you're averted. Not getting caught up in their jargon and their nonsense that they speak about. Definitely use your intuitive senses here when you're looking at other speakers and health advocates and see what their results are. Because if you're not getting the results that they're talking about, and neither are they, then there's trouble brewing.